Everyone wants to know the answer to this simple question. Are they really doing well in retirement? But most finance gurus won't tell you the truth. Those flashy income and net worth numbers should have put you in the top 1%, 10%, or 25%. And they don't make sense unless you solve 3 other things first. Guiding people through retirement over the past 20 years has taught me something that completely upends conventional wisdom. Retirees with the most smiles are usually not the ones with the most portfolios. In this video, I'll break down the exact income and net worth thresholds for each percentile. And more importantly, I'll take you through 3 principles that determine whether you're building the retirement plan you really want or just looking for a number on a spreadsheet. Let's start with a reality check, which might lighten your load. According to a recent survey of consumer finance data, the median household aged 65 to 69 earns just over $50,000 a year after retirement, including Social Security, any pension, and 401k S and IRA withdrawals combined. Before you panic, if you're below that or if you're above that, you feel a little too comfortable. Let me share a story about 2 retirees leaving their jobs in the same month. James, who retired on $175,000 a year, more than triple the median, won on paper. In fact, the man was dead. Every morning, he refreshed his brokerage app 5 times before breakfast. Lost sleep every time. The Fed issued a notice, and he couldn't enjoy a dinner out of town, wondering if it was the culprit. Patricia retired in the same month, earning about $55,000 a year, sounding like another planet financially. She knows her monthly burn rate like the back of her hand, has a written plan she actually follows, and she fully accepts what I call enough mentality rather than more mentality. You can probably guess which of them actually enjoyed retirement. This leads to the first key point, that happiness after retirement has almost nothing to do with your percentile. It all has to do with whether your income fits the life you want and whether you sleep well at night. Now, let's take a look at what the actual needs of the top 25% of retirees are in net terms. And remember that net worth includes home equity, not just retirement accounts, in the range of $395,000 to $1.16 million. I put the data source under the video. Interestingly, when thousands of retirees are asked how long it will take to feel comfortable, the answer is always around $1.2 million. But only about 3.5% of Americans reach the $1 million net worth mark after retirement, according to the same consumer finance data survey. Last year, a couple sat with me convinced they were behind because they had saved only $550,000, as if it were not a major achievement when we added their $450,000 paid for the house to their $200,000 rent. They realized they were sitting comfortably in the top 25%. The lesson here is not to stare at your 401k balance like the whole story, but to narrow it down and look at the full financial picture. To get into the top 10%, you need a net worth of more than $2.9 million, which is really counterintuitive. People who sit on $3 million, $5 million, or even $8 million often walk into my office and worry more about money than customers with a small amount of money. In my view, the reason is that they are completely wrong to play the game, still locked in accumulation mode when we should consider revenue design, obsessed with piles rather than figuring out how to really extract revenue from them. I will never forget a gentleman who walked into my office, opened the door and said, "How quickly can I get $4 million?" When I asked him what was special about the number, he said it was just his number. I clicked again and asked him what $4 million could do for him once he got there. And after a long pause, he quietly acknowledged that he just needed to know that if anything happened to him, his wife would be fine. Our plan for that afternoon revolved around this real fear, a precise simulation of what his wife would need if he died tomorrow. As a result, he stayed there for 2 years without realizing it. You could see the look on his face, and within a month, he and his wife had booked a 6-week trip to Europe. So instead of staring at the headline numbers, focus on creating a tax-efficient cash-out plan to finance the life you really want. If your advisor does not have such a conversation with you, sign up for the retirement plan program linked below. Now, in the top 1%, you need a net worth of $21.7 million or more. If it is you, congratulations. For the other 99% of us, I really want you to hear this. You don't need to be in the top 1% to have an extraordinary retirement. The numbers are really surprising. And if that resonates so far, do me a favor and click the like button before we move on. Here is the stagnant data. 86% of older adults with total savings of $50,000 to $100,000 say they feel comfortable and satisfied after retirement. According to a Federal Reserve study, if your gut reaction is that the number can't be right, let me give you 2 reasons I believe it. The first reason can be traced to Arthur Brooks's research on happiness, which shows that satisfaction comes from narrowing the gap between what you want and what you have, rather than accumulating more. These retirees have adjusted their expectations to suit their resources rather than chasing a moving goal. And I recently came across an idea that bothers me. Not wanting something is as good as owning it. If you think this is true, please comment and let me know. The second reason is that for most Americans, Social Security quietly handles the most basic expenses. Retired couples earn an average of about $40,000 to $50,000 a year from Social Security. And once your lifestyle is intentional and your debt is repaid, it is too far away. Millions of people don't need to feel satisfied when they are grounded and your expectations take root. That brings us to the heart of the conversation. The right question isn't which percentile you are in. The right question is whether you have enough money to live the life you really want. I've seen $2 million people live an absolutely miserable life because they constantly measure themselves by their $5 million neighbors. And I've seen $400,000 people live an absolutely affluent life because they have built a life suitable for their income. The gap between the two groups is not money, but mentality. Here are 3 things that matter more than your percentile. First of all, defining what enough really means to you is not something that some magazine articles claim or your brother-in-law bragged about on Thanksgiving, but something that really gives you peace of mind. Second, design your retirement around experience, not rankings, because the happiest retirees I know are those who pursue memory, relationships, and freedom, not rankings. Third, let go of your habits and go your own way, because chasing other people's definitions of success is the quickest way to lose happiness. If you want to support all this with practical financial measures, here are 4. First, track your actual spending per dollar for 3 months with things like royalty or Copilot, and then adjust your retirement category, because you may spend less on commuting and work clothes, but more on healthcare, travel, and hobbies. Second, list all of your income, including Social Security, any pension you will receive, interested part-time counseling, and sustainable investment withdrawals. Third, run math with a tool actually built for retirement rather than a generic spreadsheet, because the right retirement software considers taxes, inflation, earnings, sequence risk, and ROS transformations in ways Excel can't do. Here are links to the tools I use. Fourth, I repeat this because defining what enough individuals mean to you is the most important. If you reach your goal, click the like button to make it more accessible to more people. And if you want to build a retirement income plan more deeply around your actual happiness, check out the video that pops up on the screen. Thanks for watching. And remember that the top 1% isn't your best retirement admission. You just need to know what you already have. See you next time. Take care.